you will learn how to model quantities using dimensional analysis. Unit analysis or dimensional analysis is when we convert from one unit to another. When you convert from one unit to another, you must decide which conversion factor will produce the appropriate unit. To change one unit of measure to another, you will use a rate that is equal to 1. For example, you may use 60 minutes to 1 hour or 1 hour to 60 minutes. We will discuss looking at several examples when you will need to write it in which order. This chart can be used as a reference for conversions. Here is our first example. A cheetah ran 300 feet in 2.92 seconds. What was the cheetah's speed in miles per hour? Oftentimes when we talk about conversions, we are just converting one unit at a time, feet to miles, for example, or seconds to hours. But here we are converting an entire rate. So the way we start this problem is by setting up the rate as a fraction. So we have 300 feet on top, 2.92 seconds on the bottom. I'm going to start by changing feet to miles. In order to do that, we need to know how many feet there are in a mile. There are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. We might write it that way with 5,280 over 1, or we might reverse it and write it as 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. They are both the same equivalence. What we're going to do here is we are going to multiply this rate that we started with by the conversion rate. When we do that, in order to choose which one is going to go on top, we want to make sure that we line up the units of feet diagonally from one another so that they will cancel out with one another. Feet over feet will cancel. So that means 1 mile must go on top and 5,280 feet would have to go on bottom for the feet to cancel. After I set it up correctly, then I'm going to multiply straight across. 300 times 1 is 300. And now I don't have feet anymore. Those canceled, so I have miles. And on the bottom, I'm going to multiply 2.92 times 5,280, which gives me 15417.6, and that is seconds is my unit on the bottom right now because feet disappeared. Now I have miles, but I still need to change seconds into hours. So we know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, and then 60 minutes in 1 hour. We can take 2 steps to get there, or we can combine this to show that there are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. That just saves us a step along the way if we do that in the beginning. So now we need to figure out where am I going to put seconds so that I can cancel out my seconds. And if it's in the bottom, where we are going to put our 3,600 seconds is going to be on the top. So that seconds and seconds will cancel out. On the bottom, we have 1 hour. And now we're going to multiply straight across. 300 times 3,600 is 108,0000. And then on the bottom, we have 15417.6. This is hours on the bottom, and on top is miles. So we have miles and hours. Our last step is to divide those two so that we can get a rate of miles per hour, which is approximately, it's not exact, but we will round approximately 70 miles per hour for our final answer for the cheetah's speed. Let's take a look at one more example. A bathtub is filled at a rate of 3 gallons per minute. Convert this to pints per second. So we're going to begin by writing down our rate and I'm going to go ahead and change gallons to pints first. So we have, if you look at your conversion chart, you'll see that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon, and then there are 2 pints in 1 quart. So what that means is that there are 8 pints in 1 gallon. So when I set up my rate, I need to decide where do I put the 8 pints and where do I put the 1 gallon. I want the gallons to cancel out. So that means I'm going to have to put my 1 gallon on the bottom and 8 pints on the top so that gallons and gallons can cancel. When I multiply these two together, I get 24 pints over 1 minute. So 3 gallons per minute is 24 pints per minute, but we want to know how many pints per second that is. So we know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. We need to figure out where am I going to put those so that my minutes can cancel. So this one is going to read 1 minute over 60 seconds. Instead of our first one was 8 pints over 1 gallon. So the location of the 1 is going to change depending on where you want it, what you want to cancel out. So when we multiply these, we end up with 24 pints in 60 seconds. And if we divide that to get a rate or a unit rate, that's about 4/10 of a pint per second.